So first question I wanted to ask you, obviously without sports for this past couple of weeks, what sports are you missing the most right now in the society?
I would definitely say basketball as a whole. Obviously, March Madness. I mean, that was a huge letdown. Obviously, I kind of hold a special place in my heart for March Madness because that was
Hmm.
always the goal was to get there. So, huge fan of the Oregon women's basketball team. So I was absolutely rooting for them this year, and I
Hmm.
think just unfinished business, and that's
Hmm.
that's that's tough. You just usually in the tournament, it's always not much of a surprise. It's UConn. UConn wins every year,
Right.
but now just like the men's tournament, it was up in the air, and it's been like that for the last couple of years, and that's so exciting. And the fact that like Oregon had such a high chance to win, and like I said before, it goes unfinished is it's unsettling for sure.
Hmm. Like you said, Oregon, they were finished the season as number two, but they had the AP Player of the Year, Sabrina Ionescu. What impresses you about watching her game when you watch her play on the court?
I think her biggest or the thing that I like about her the most is how quiet she is and how humble she is. Um, I've watched a lot of players in my life succeed, and they let people know that they have succeeded, and like they let others know like I am here, and she's so humble about it, and that's what I love the most about her game is that, and also just her ability to run the pick and roll to absolute
Hmm.
perfection is incredible.
Hmm. She's also from the Bay Area too. Did you get a chance to
Yeah.
play against her or watch her play at all in high school?
I never played against her or watched her, unfortunately, but I knew she went to Miramani. I know that she did go to Miramani and made a name for herself there. Unfortunately, I never got to play against her, but wish I could. Wish I
Hmm.
could have.
Now, the team that was number one at the time that the coronavirus hit and paused everything was South Carolina too. What impressed you most about that team? If you were following up with them and on their season, they finished 32-1.
Didn't follow them too much, but you got to give it to Dawn Staley. I mean,
Hmm.
she's an incredible coach. I'm almost 100% sure she also coaches the USA team. I mean, just the experience and coaching the caliber of players that she does is, you can't go wrong with her as a coach. She leads that team, any of her teams, just in the right direction. Got to give her props.
Hmm. So going back to your playing days back in high school at Marin Catholic High, you played basketball for head coach DeMartini. What specifically about his coaching style helped you get to the next level?
So Rick is pretty much my second dad. He's him and I are still very close to this day, and I think what worked with him and I is our ability to communicate with each other. Like when I was on the court, I was constantly looking at him, um, just to check in on if we were on the right page. And something that I respected about him as a coach is he wasn't afraid to listen to his players.
Mhm.
And so if I saw something that he didn't see and I was like, think we should do this, he would listen. And if he saw something different, he would communicate that to me, and I'd be like, great, let's do it. And he's been coaching at Marin Catholic for like over 30 years or something. And the thing that was crazy about him is Rick ran the same stuff every single year. And coaches couldn't figure out how to stop it. And that was something that was so special about him. Is he stuck to what he knew. And obviously, yeah, he would make adjustments here and there, but it wasn't anything like extraordinary. He just stuck to what he did, and he made his players run it to the best of their abilities. And when you can do that, you don't always have to change everything. So
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
exactly.
So before high school, at what age did you find yourself really falling in love with the sport of basketball?
So for a while, I told myself I want to be first female to play in the major league. I wanted to play baseball. Um, and then just I grew a little bit in middle school and high school, and I thought maybe that's not the most realistic thing. So I'd say it was probably my sophomore year of high school. I was like, I'm going to play Division I college basketball. I'm going to do it.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's when I really dove into the sport, realized that I had to go play travel basketball outside of Marin,
Hmm.
because you definitely see a different level of players outside of Marin. But yeah, I'd say probably my high school or my sophomore year of high school.
Hmm. Now, you mentioned you wanted to be the first player to play in the Major League Baseball. How fun was it for you to watch Monet Davis, if you did watch her at all, tear it up in the
Yeah,
Little League World Series a couple years back?
yeah, she absolutely killed it. I mean, you gotta love seeing females in male dominant sports succeed.
Hmm.
You love to see it. And she was definitely someone I followed and rooted for her the whole way. I know she said she wanted to play basketball at UConn, which didn't happen, but she was shooting for the stars, which you gotta love. And
Hmm.
yeah,
Is she in college already, or is she
she
still in
is
high
in
school?
college. I think
Oh,
she's playing softball at a smaller school, I want to
dang.
say.
I'll have to
Yeah,
look
but
that
I
up.
know
Yeah.
time goes fast.
Yeah, it feels like only a couple years ago she was, in the Little League World Series, man.
Right, right.
So I know you were getting looked at by a few schools in California, but what led you to make the decision to go play for Portland State right out of high school?
Yeah, so I was like so close on actually going to play at UC Santa Barbara. Took my visits there. They ended up having a coaching change. New coach was not interested, which is just part of the recruiting process.
Hmm.
So went on a couple more visits, checked out Portland State, and realized that I didn't want to be too close from home, but I didn't want to be too far away. I'm definitely a homebody, so got to stay on the West Coast, which I loved. Um, I really liked the girls. It seemed like a good fit at the time, and I thought to myself after the visit, I was like, this seems like I gel, I fit in.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What was the biggest adjustment like from playing high school level basketball to now college level?
sure. Uh, the speed of the game. I mean, oh my goodness, the speed is crazy, and also just um, your schedule, right? In high school, it's practice after school for 2 hours max and go home.
Hmm.
Play a game twice a week, either at your home court or at another school that's like 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Um, but right in college, you have classes scattered throughout the day. You have weights, you have film, you have study hall, you have it all. You have 4 to 5 hour practices.
Dang.
Um, you know, it's just the schedule, the huge jump.
Hmm. Now, when looking at your freshman year, you were named academic All Big Sky, and you're actually named academic All Big Sky all 4 years. What did it mean to you to be a student athlete to make the all academic honors all 4 years during your collegiate career?
Sure, like student does come before athlete.
Hmm.
Obviously, I can say that wasn't always the case. Um, I think you could ask a lot of student athletes that, and they said that wasn't the case. But I mean, I knew I wasn't going to go pro, so I wasn't going to college to go to the draft. Go 2 and out or whatever you want to say. Even
Hmm.
I was there to get a degree and as well as play basketball. But I was the first person in my immediate family to get a college degree, so that kind of drives it a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but you do get hounded by your coaches if you aren't locked into your schoolwork, and that's not always a good conversation to have.
Hmm.
When you go in there for your weekly meetings or whatever it may be, you wanna be on top of your shit for
Hmm.
sure. And when you're not, it's not a good look. So
Hmm. Now, Portland State's not too far from your home of the Bay Area, but was there any culture shocks or things that you had to get used to just being living away from home for the first time?
The weather.
Yeah.
The weather was the biggest issue, honestly. And coming from the Bay Area and where you get sun the majority of the time, and then going up there, it was rough. Um, you're not seeing the sun at all. And I thought to myself, well, you're going to be in the gym, so it's not like it's really going to matter. But
Yeah.
it played a huge effect on just like my well-being, unfortunately. But
Mm.
yeah.
So your sophomore and your junior year, there were some injuries to the team, and you ended up leading your team in scoring both those seasons. But then you made the decision to transfer to Sacramento State after your junior season. What kind of led into that decision for you to transfer and leave Portland State?
Yeah, so it was an eventful 3 years at Portland State. A lot of unnecessary drama, I guess
Mm.
you could say. But I was probably the most unhappy I've ever been there.
Mhm.
Um, and so I knew, I had a lot of the girls that were older were my like closest friends. So when they graduated, I was like, oh man, uh, like it's gonna be hard to grind this one out. And so I knew I just I, we played Sac State, so I mean, same conference, right? Big Sky, and so I saw what was going on there,
Mhm.
and I am a 3-point shooter. That's what I was known for, kind of just throughout my basketball career. And those girls shot threes. They ran, trapped, and shot threes, and it's like, how would you not want to play in that?
Mhm.
And so, we had some coaching changes, and I was like, you know what, this is my perfect time to go. This
Mhm.
is this is it. And so I did, and I talked to some people, and it ended up working out, and yeah, and so I got to play for a team that fit my style. It was fun.
Mhm. Now I know in Portland, the sophomore year you guys won 8 games. Junior year you guys won 4 games. How tough was it for you your sophomore year as an underclassman and then junior year as an upperclassman to just still rally your teammates to continue to play hard night in and night out?
Sure. Yeah, it was I don't know if hard's the right word, but it was frustrating because all 3 years I was there, we had like talented group of girls
Mhm.
every year, and it was just frustrating that we could not get over this wall that was in front of us. And we would put in the work, we would put in the time, and we just couldn't seem to get over it. And yeah, there were times where we were fed up, but it's something that you do have to go to every day, because that's it's your job. It really is
Mhm.
your job. So it's like you can't not go. So it's like you're going every day. You're going to put in the work, because if you don't, then what's the point of even showing up? Um, and at the end of the day, you do everything you can to succeed and to put your team in a position to succeed. And if it doesn't work, you know that you've left everything out there.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Mhm. So explain to me how the transfer process works, at least at your level. How did you have to put a name out there, or did you start reaching out to coaches immediately, or what was the
Right.
process?
So I don't know if it's different now, but I don't even know who it was. I don't know her title. Someone in the athletics department
Mhm.
that I was looking to transfer, and we didn't have a head coach at the time, so it worked out a little bit easier. Um, and so I started talking when I was able to. I started talking to coaches, sent letters out, just being like, I'm available. If you're interested,
Mhm.
let me know. And I ended up going on a visit to Sac State and talking with them, and they knew how interested I was, and I knew some girls there, so that kind of, you know, helped make the decision a little bit easier, and it was actually relatively smooth transition. Wasn't too
Mhm.
difficult. So
So after moving to Sacramento State, you have to sit out for that 2015,
mm,
2016 season. What were some of the things you were doing? Could you practice with a team, and kind of what were you working on during that year off?
I did practice with a team. Was I a priority with the team? Absolutely not. I was either on the practice squad when we so I was like the scout team,
Hmm.
and didn't get to travel. If we played relatively close, I could drive myself, which I did.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I was more just like I said earlier, the scout team. I
Hmm.
tried to just help them get better. Ran other teams' sets, um, and then during home games wouldn't be able to suit up,
Hmm.
and then would just be a support system.
Hmm. Now, Coach Bunky Harker wrote over at Sac State, like you said, a lot of trap, a lot of full court press, a lot of 3-pointers. How much of that was there any adjustment period that you had or necessarily kind of maybe struggled with coming from Portland State and Coach Merle?
Absolutely. For the most part, Bunky lets every single player have the green light. You have an open three, no matter when it is, you shoot that. You shoot it. And sometimes you think you're just like pulling the pull and it doesn't seem right. And it's like, damn, if I took that shot at any other school, I'd be benched. I'd be pulled and benched. So that was an adjustment. But at the same time, you had to be like, this is what he wants, so I'm going to do it. And also his rotations, his subbing rotations.
Hmm.
You go in for shit. It could be fucking 10 seconds, and then you're out. And it's hard to get a flow at times,
Yeah.
right? You could hit 3 shots and then get pulled, or you could miss 2 shots and then you get pulled, and you're like, well, there's no way I'm getting in the flow. Or you can be
Hmm.
like, yo, I got the hot hand. Don't know why you're taking me out. I think he's kind of adjusted to a little bit. But that was a big one because you're exhausted. You're running around with your head cut off for you know 20 seconds, and you're gassed. So at the same time, the subbing technique, you're like, yeah, I could use one, but that was something I definitely had to adjust to.
Yeah. I always wondered that too, like when covering games, just like you said, it was subbing 5 in, 5 out at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like you
Yeah,
said, sometimes it was 10 seconds. Sometimes you got like if you were lucky, you got a whole minute on the floor.
yeah, and then you're like, oh fuck, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
So
But you
yeah,
always wondered, like as a player, from a player's perspective, how hard was it to, catch a rhythm and just develop the chemistry?
yeah, the rhythm was definitely, I'd say, one of the more difficult parts to it, but
Hmm.
you just gotta hope you can go in there and hit because
Hmm.
that's what you're supposed to do. Three
Yeah.
pointers count more than twos, right? Three's more than two. So that's what you're doing.
Hmm. And then obviously too, I remember looking at your stats too. Portland State, your junior season, you're averaging like 38 minutes a game, playing almost the whole game, and then you go over to Sac State. I think it was 24 you finished with. So it's a huge drop
That was
off in
hard
minutes played.
too. That was hard. It's you always want to play, right? You go to play college sports in hopes to play,
Hmm.
and so um, yeah, I think I did average the most minutes in the conference, which I was like, what the hell? But it was that was a big adjustment. That's a good point. That was a big adjustment at Sac State. But like we talked about, it was a different strategy that he was doing, and there's no way you could play 38 and a half minutes running
Hmm.
what he does. There's just no way.
Hmm.
So
So coming from Portland State, obviously a couple tough losing seasons. Sac State, the year before they had a decent season. I think they finished just below 500 after the Big Sky tournament. But then your senior year, it doesn't end up working out. You guys only win 10 games, 6 in conference. What kind of just, what I know there were some injuries to that season, but what else kind of played into factor in that season and not going the way you guys pictured?
That was pretty disappointing. It was. But even throughout the season, you don't win games. You can't dwell on it a lot because they change the tournament to every team goes.
Hmm.
So, or the conference tournament. So even though you don't win games throughout the season, yeah, that means you get like a shitty seeding, but it's not over. Like
Hmm.
you still have the opportunity to go to the big dance. So I think that was always something we kind of kept in the back of our heads. It was like, okay, so we haven't really peaked yet. We haven't figured it out. Well, there's still time. And I think that's what hurt most about that season is we lost to Weber in the first round in overtime. And it was like, really? This is how it's going to end? Um, so that was always something we kept in the back of our heads, I guess.
Hmm. But I just remember having so much fun watching that team from you, Margaret Huntington,
Oh,
Ashlyn
no, yeah,
Crenshaw, Moran
yeah.
Johnson, who I've had on the show.
Yeah,
You guys were crazy talented. I just remember thinking like how is this team not more? I guess how
it's
could they not have more wins on the finals?
absolutely. And that's the frustrating thing. Like I said, with the group I had at Portland State, it's like such a talented group of girls that just couldn't get over that whatever wall it was. It was just,
Hmm.
you know, like Marianne Johnson goes down as probably her and Fantasia Hilliard. They go down as like two of the best players to ever play at Sac State.
Hmm.
And I think, I just wish that I could have taken more of an advantage, like more, I don't even know, just done more with my time with Marianne. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So with all those girls, with all
Hmm.
those girls.
And it was unfortunate too. I remember the season prior. I don't know how much you got to know her, but Brianna Burgos, she was a
Oh
really
yeah,
talented shooter on that team, but she
yeah,
had a crazy,
yeah.
unfortunate injury
Mhm.
at the end of the season prior. So
Yep.
she was out most of that 2016-17 season, and you could tell even when she did play, she was like timid. She wasn't the same
Absolutely.
athlete, you know.
Absolutely. And that's, I remember when that injury happened. And that was just a bad step.
Hmm.
And you're just like, oh, that didn't look good. And yeah, that's why injuries are interesting. That's why I'm intrigued to see how Kevin Durant plays this next
Yeah.
upcoming season.
Hmm. Speaking of injuries, you remained pretty injury free your entire collegiate career. What do you attribute that to, or what were some of the off-season workout plans that you were doing to keep yourself healthy and strong?
You know, I felt like I was really lucky with injuries. Had a ton of concussions.
Ugh.
I'd say that was probably a lot of people say like ACL or
Mhm,
ankle or whatever. Mine was concussions. I
mhm,
think I had 5 or 6 in college. Um, and those take a toll on you.
mhm,
Um, but I did a lot of. Oh, I don't even know what I did in the summer. I had a really good college trainer out here in Marin. He played college ball at Hartford
mm.
a while back, and his name's Michael Turner. Great guy. He killed me in the summers. Absolutely killed me. Did a lot of track workouts. But I'd say I'm not gonna like say that I was doing some crazy off-season workout. I think the injuries were a luck thing, straight
Mhm,
up. I think they were a luck thing.
mhm. You mentioned the concussions, and obviously, just in the past like half decade and even decade, you could say, especially with the NFL, it seems like concussions are a lot more in the news, a lot more talked about than they were at least when we were both in high school. Do
Mm-hmm.
they scare you at all? The fact that you've had so many and just head injuries in general?
Um, yeah. I mean, I'm also a big NFL girl, so I
Mhm,
love the NFL, and I just don't understand. I think almost every hit those guys take is a concussion,
mhm,
straight up. Like, there's just no way it's not. And
mhm,
unfortunately, it's the norm to be like, get up, you're fine, go back out there, and
mhm,
you play it off like you're good. And that's not just a concussion thing. I think that's a lot of injuries. Roll your ankle, do something to your knee, tweak it, back, whatever it may be. You say you're fine and you get back out there.
Hmm.
You deal with the repercussions later, unfortunately. But I think the head injuries need to be taken way more seriously, though.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't want to go too much off on a tangent here, but Antonio Brown.
Yeah. Oof.
I mean,
Oof. That was quick too. That was like,
like that. I don't know if he'll ever play in the NFL again. I think he will, but like what was happening on social media this past year, and with to
yeah.
me, head injury plays a part in that. And
Hmm.
some people may think I'm crazy for that, but I don't know how it doesn't.
Hmm. And I think for me, from a personal experience, a lot of what Antonio Brown was doing, I have experience with my father. He played football a long time ago in the 80s, so stuff
Okay.
was even less high tech back then. I could kind of see the long-term effects on him himself and where he'll go through episodes, but he doesn't remember them even. You're just like, whoa, like, so that
Right.
definitely seeing that at home kind of scares me long term. I didn't have any diagnosed concussions by a doctor, but I know there was 2 times where I got my bell rung really bad,
Yeah.
where I just, like you said, trying to walk it off and
Hmm.
brush it off. And that was way too I think that was way too easy back in the day. I think now they're doing a better job as far as making it mandatory for kids to get into concussion protocols and stuff. But I just remember, if you just told them like, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm all right. Like, and they'll do the simple finger test, but that was kind of
Yeah.
it,
Right.
and
And then they're like, you're good. Go.
yeah. And I remember the
Yeah.
biggest thing is like how I remember reading up later is like when you work out the day after concussion, you feel really nauseous. And there was, like I said, those 2 instances where I had a pretty hard hit. The next day we had practice or some sort of
Hmm.
workout, and I remember like throwing up, and I was like, oh, like
Yeah.
now looking back, it's like, damn, like those are concussions.
Absolutely.
Hmm. You mentioned you're an NFL girl. What's your favorite team right now?
The Niners.
Okay.
I'm not a very. I'm not a. I'm not a very loyal fan. Uh, but I was rooting for them this past year.
Hmm.
Incredible run by them.
So going back to Sac State, you finished with a kinesiology degree. Was that something that you always wanted to do since coming out of high school, or did that something you have to find along the way when you were in college?
Yeah, so it was something I always wanted to do out of high school. I had a my goal in life was to be a player development coach for the Golden State Warriors. I said
Ooh.
that is what I'm going to do.
Ooh.
I will get there one day. So got my degree in kinesiology, and then right out of college, I got an internship with the old strength and conditioning coach of the Warriors. He was around when Monte was playing, and then
Mm.
they kind of cleaned house when it was Steph Curry's first year. So unfortunately, uh, he got let go. But I got an internship with him and his company that's run out of San Francisco, and then actually got a part-time job with them, and thought that I wanted to do that. And then I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. It was something that I found to be way too repetitive, and I wasn't in love with it like I thought I was going to be.
Hmm.
And I took a completely different road, and I was like, I need to be on my toes more. I need more excitement in my life. Um, and I decided to be an EMT.
Mm.
So I went to school to be an EMT, and I'm back in school. Well, not right now, unfortunately. We got postponed, but I was in the fire academy because I want to be
Oh,
a
okay.
firefighter. And so we were halfway through that. Um, and then obviously, unfortunately, the coronavirus kicked in. And so we had to put our academy on hold. But that is what I'm doing right now. Goal is
Nice.
to be a firefighter, EMT, maybe a fire medic one day. We'll see. But um, not doing what my major, not doing what my major was. But that's okay. Not a
Hmm.
lot of people do. So
Yeah, it's okay to, make changes at any point of your life.
Yeah.
Was your family kind of thrown off by that decision to switch careers up all of a sudden?
Um, a little bit. I think what I think they were most surprised about is how quickly I just like let go of my other job and dove into this one. It was
Mm-hmm.
like found the programs online, signed up for them, signed up for school, done. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was in it and I got my EMT, 6 months later. And now I'm trying to get
Wow.
my firefighter one. And I think that was the part that surprised them the most, was just how fast I got into it.
Mm-hmm. Man, you're a quick mover, huh?
Gotta be.
So after college, after playing basketball, was there any point that you tried to pursue amateur basketball, playing overseas or somewhere in the States?
Thought about it. I think overseas is probably the most realistic option. But I was ready to be done with it. Unfortunately, there was a time in college where I was like, this is not something I love anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it felt like a job, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
um, there's people out there like Marianne Johnson that still have this extreme love for the game, which I wish I did. But I don't. When my senior year ended, it ended, and I it was time. Um, do I still play in leagues? Yeah, I play in women's leagues, out here, and play in open gyms with my friends, and I coach a high school team, and
Nice.
I get in and play with them as well, and yeah, I can't not play, but ever since college ended, I haven't had that feeling to just like I miss it. Like I wish I was still playing college basketball. I don't have that feeling anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
actually I haven't had it since college ended, and I think that says a lot in itself.
Mm-hmm. When now that you coach high school, what do you like most about the coaching experience, especially at that level?
Oh man, you know, I like all the different personalities you get with the girls. It's just like I also feel like I can relate to them. It's like I've been there. I
Mm-hmm.
know what you're going through. You're gonna get past it. It's not the end of the world to get a D on a math test or like whatever it may be, or um, you'll get through it. And you just connect with the girls, in your own special ways, and they make you keep coming back,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're great, and they want to learn. They want to learn. They want to get better. Um, and that's what you love to see.
Did you always picture yourself coaching, or was this kind of something
Yeah,
that you did? Okay.
I did always. And I've grown a lot as a coach. I know I still have a lot more growing to do, but I always had this. It's different when you've played and you've played at like a high level. You have high expectations, and it's okay to have a high expectations, but make sure that your high expectations are realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need to get checked as a coach and realize that not everyone has the same mindset as you did as a player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was hard to swallow for me as a coach. It was like, yeah, not everyone is gonna be in the gym after you lost. That's
Mm-hmm.
people are gonna go home and eat dinner. You did that later, but so I think that was the biggest thing. But I love coaching. I will coach if I'm a firefighter, which I hope I am. I will still coach,
Mm-hmm.
um, just because the schedule kind of allows you to. But yeah, I will always coach.
That's great. I coach middle school right now, and I'm gonna start coaching
Oh,
high
nice.
school football next season. But that's like the biggest thing you said too is like sometimes you do have athletes that don't love the sport as much as you do, and it like you said the you worded it perfectly. You have to get checked sometimes because there will be those athletes that love it as much as you do, maybe even more, and you're just like, oh yes, this is perfect. I could work with you. But then you get like maybe a kid who's more talented than that kid, but
Mm-hmm.
he just doesn't love it as much, or he's playing three
Right.
different sports. He has a lot of stuff going on. He'd rather go to his like aunt's,
Right.
birthday, then go to a game,
Yeah.
and just like, man, like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And that's another thing. It's like how you talk to one player is not how you're going to talk to another. So it's kind of fun and interesting to navigate through each player, um, because how I talk to my starting point guard who's a senior is not how I'm going to talk to
Hmm.
my starting freshman. It's just like,
Hmm.
but it's fun to figure out.
Hmm. Speaking of players, who were, if you can recall back to your collegiate career or even high school, who were some of the better players that you had to play against in your career?
Oh, God. You know, let's see. In high school, I played against a ton of girls from like St. Mary's of Berkeley who were super good. They ended up going to like Cal and God, I don't even know. College, college. I mean, Fantasia, she was incredible.
Hmm.
She was incredible. Um, I honestly don't even remember.
Hmm. Or some of the better teams that you guys played? I know Idaho had a pretty good hold of the Big Sky when you guys were playing there.
Yeah, they did. So did is Idaho State. Idaho State had
Yeah.
some incredible girls. I can't recall their names, but they were a powerhouse. Um, Northern Colorado had one girl. I want to say her name was Deshara Strange.
Hmm.
She was a straight up stud. Um, I honestly don't remember. There's some good girls though.
Hmm. I remember too. You guys played USC at home
Yeah.
your senior
Oh
year, and
God.
they had
Yeah.
some fast players. I
Yeah.
just remember just
Athletic as hell.
yeah, you guys kept up with them for the first half, and then like the
That
second
you
half,
just gotta go into those games like you have nothing to lose. So
right?
it's like give it your all.
Hmm.
You know, whatever you do, give it your all.
Hmm. I remember that
They're
was
just like you. They're female basketball players. They're a human being.
right.
Right? You just gotta.
And I remember too, that was the most packed I've ever seen the Hornets Nest. The fans really came out and
Yeah.
support that day.
Yeah. That was a fun game. That was
Hmm.
fun.
So going back
You
to
live for games like that.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I think even like ESPN had a radio. Because I remember we had to like squeeze into the booth that we usually do games
Hmm.
at. There was like there was somebody up there that was like from ESPN. I think they were just doing filming, and they were live streaming it. But it was pretty interesting to see that many people
Yeah.
and that many media personnel, and it was full. It was fun.
Absolutely.
So going back to your senior year too for the State Hornet, I know you got to do for the newspaper on campus. I know they did an article specifically about being an openly gay athlete. At what point of your life did you come out, and were you comfortable coming out?
I'd say I came out. Was I a junior in college? I
Hmm.
think it was my last year at Portland State. My last year at Portland State, and if not that, it was my sophomore year there. Um, but I think it was my junior. And yeah, it was a casual conversation that I really had with my mom over the phone.
Hmm.
Mom, I'm feeling this type of way. Not sure what the feeling is, but I'm feeling whatever this may be. And it was like, great, good for you. It was nothing that, needed to be, she didn't make it a situation. It was like, great, thanks for telling me. I love
Hmm.
you.
Aw, that's nice. That's good to hear.
So, yeah.
Did you ever meet players that were maybe still not open about it because they had some pressure from their family or outside friend circles?
Yeah, it wasn't always the pressure. It was kind of just like, I don't know what this feeling is.
Mm.
And I'm just like riding it out right now. Which is fine too. But yeah, I definitely met people that were still like hadn't come out to family members or whoever it may be. And that's something that each person figures out when the best time to do that is, because it's different for everyone. So,
Mm-hmm.
and you just got to kind of let it happen.
Mm-hmm. I also remember reading in that article too that you mentioned that a lot of girls who play basketball at any age level, they always kind of get stereotyped that way. How did that make you feel? And did you ever face those stereotypical comments when you were younger?
Yeah, you do face it. I faced it because I wasn't I all growing up wore my brother's hand-me-down clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, wasn't your typical girl, right? Loved to be outside and play sports and wear basketball shorts and big t-shirts, and that was me. But it's you do face it. You get some comments even when you're playing, or from the crowd or whatever it may be. But it's something that it's me. It's a part
Mm-hmm.
of me, and it's like it's not something I flaunt or like make it a thing. It's me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's yeah. You got to realize that not everyone is gonna agree with it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. You don't have to. I don't
Mm-hmm.
get why you don't, but you don't have to. To each their own. But um, I also I also have really I'm happy with
Mm-hmm.
who I am. Like I wouldn't change that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that helps. Like it's just, I'm not different than, the person next to me. It's just who I am.
Right.
And you gotta take it
Mm-hmm.
and roll with it. So
Mm-hmm. And you got to do what's best for you, like you said, to be comfortable. Because if you try and be a
yeah,
people pleaser, like I said, whether it's for your parents, other
it's
family,
never gonna work.
right, and you're just gonna constantly be living a life that you don't like living, and what's the point in that?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so you can't please everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well, please yourself.
Mm-hmm. So going back to 2020, you mentioned that you're just finishing up your firefighting. What are some other goals that you have in the year 2020?
Oh man. Well, like you said, big one is to get my firefighter one and hopefully get hired on at a department. I would
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love for that to happen. Don't really know what's going to happen right now. I think a lot of people don't know what's going to happen. My high school team, we got cut we made it to state, didn't get to play in it.
Dang.
So that one hurts.
Yeah.
So I was the assistant coach for the varsity team, so that's the team I was talking about. Um, so once October hits, just go into that season with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. Those girls are just absolutely incredible. Um, I think just still trying to like navigate myself,
Mm-hmm.
figure out life, because every day it's new, especially with everything that's going on right now, right? It's just kind of makes you think about, the future, and the future is uncertain, and you don't know what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis. And I think I'm really trying to just like live in the now.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cliche, but um yeah, I still got a lot of things to figure out about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm trying to figure that out in 2020.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important throughout, however long this social distancing lasts, you need to have an optimist view on this. Like you said, kind of whether it's to figure yourself out, hash out some old, grudges that you maybe had,
Mm-hmm.
learn a new hobby, pick up a
Yeah.
side hustle, just something to kind of continue to work on. Because I have noticed a lot of people kind of just really sad or really, and granted, it is a serious topic. It is not something to laugh at or scoff at, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's a lot of people who aren't really affected by it directly or immediately, that are
Mm-hmm.
really still taking it really hard. And I get that work provides a lot of our income so where we can live comfortably,
Right.
but I feel like work shouldn't be the only thing you look forward to in life. You should have
Mm-hmm.
other things, and I think that's what some people struggle with, is to have a hobby or to pass the time,
Absolutely.
because we have, at least me, I don't have work right now for either job,
Mhm.
and you have a lot more. I have a lot more time on my hands more than ever before, and sometimes I guess you find like you said, you discover a little bit more about yourself in this kind of time.
Yeah. And that's a big thing I'm doing with this time is like you said, hobbies. I'm doing things that I, wouldn't do on a daily basis. And,
Hmm.
I have a lot more time with myself, so that, a lot of thinking goes on and that sort of thing. But, there's times throughout the days where I'm like, oh fuck, this is horrible. I think we all have those
Hmm.
moments, but I'm also having time where I'm like, wow, it's kind of nice.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, like I said, it's only natural that you have the oh shit kind of moments, but take advantage as well of
Hmm.
what's of the time you have right now. The whole job thing is yeah, it's frightening. It will get figured out.
Hmm.
All this will get figured out, and that's what I'm trying to keep reminding myself that. Um, but we're all going through it. So,
Hmm. What are some of those new hobbies that you've picked up, if you don't mind sharing?
let's see, what have I been doing? Trying to play some tennis.
Oh, okay.
I'm not very good. Um, what else have I been doing? I've been coloring a lot.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, this isn't a new hobby, but I play a lot of Madden.
Mm.
So, um, and like 2K, but going on a lot of walks, bike rides.
Mm. There you go.
I'm still trying to work out a lot, but yeah, those sort of things.
Hmm. Do you find it tough, or do you find it tougher or easier post your athletic career to work out and maintain that like healthy
Oh
habits?
God, it's hard. It's
Hmm.
really hard. Well, because college, I mean, I was in the best shape of my life. I could run for hours. Not the case anymore. Um, but this probably isn't the best mindset. But I sometimes I tell myself if I'm tired, I'm like, you've literally ran your body into the ground for 20 years, so if you take a day off, it's okay. I still wake up with aches and pains, so it's like, relax, you're good.
Hmm. That's
But if
good.
I don't work out, I go crazy, so I
Hmm.
have to.
Yeah, some people just have to be moving, get that body
Yeah,
flowing, the blood
that's
flowing.
me.
Hmm. And then for me, after playing sports, it was like less weightlifting. I lost interest in that, but more of
Mhm.
like plyometrics, jump rope, yoga's like I've recently started picking
Okay,
up in the last
nice.
year. So it's like it doesn't have to be the traditional workout, whatever you're used to for your sport. Try and learn
Sure.
something new. Like I said, the yoga's really helped me a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, we lifted here and there in college, but I'm really into lifting now.
Hmm.
Um, don't do as much cardio as I should,
Hmm.
but I joined Orange Theory Fitness. I'm a huge fan of it. I absolutely love it. That does get me to do my cardio, but yeah.
Hmm. Nice. Well, before we end the show, I do like to ask the guest each week to, some fun questions just to help to get
Yeah.
the listener to get to know you a little bit more. If you could have any topping on a pizza, what would it be?
Oh, I'm so simple. I just like cheese on my pizza.
Just cheese?
Just
Okay.
cheese. I'm a cheese date. So,
Okay, nice. If you could go back to any time period in history, what era would you want to go to?
oh God. You know what? I'm a huge fan of 80s music. Love 80s music. And I just feel like I would fit into parties back then, just in terms of music. So yeah, I'll go back to the 80s. Let's do it.
Okay, nice, nice. If you could have a conversation with any person or multiple people in history, dead or alive, who would they be?
Um, you know, I'm a huge fan. I'm a sports nut, so I'm gonna stick with sports. Um, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Um, I'm just gonna talk to Candace Parker. Just want to pick
Mm,
her brain. I'm a huge fan of hers. Always have been. But I feel like there's someone that's like I don't. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Okay, we can always come back to it.
Okay, great.
If you could have any exotic pet, what would you want to have?
An elephant.
Ooh, that's the first one. Okay, I
Have
like
you
that.
watched Tiger King?
I have not actually. I
You
haven't
got to get on
finished
that,
it.
man.
I
You
haven't.
got to get on
I
that.
watched the first two
Okay.
episodes or the
Okay.
first yeah
Yeah, you
episodes.
got to finish that.
I've seen a lot of memes for it though, so I kind of already kind of
Yeah.
get an idea
Yeah.
of what's happening.
Right.
Um, if you were stuck on an island, tropical island, doesn't matter what island, but what
Mhm.
were some of the 5 things that you would want to bring onto that island?
Um, you got to bring baseball gloves in a baseball.
Hmm.
Got to stay occupied. Um, probably a speaker. Uh, in and out.
Ooh.
um, yeah, I'm
What's your go-to order at In-N-Out?
a double.
Okay.
And then if I'm really hungry, I'll do like a double and then a cheeseburger.
Oh, okay, nice. So
Yeah,
you wouldn't just go
depends
three
on the
by
night.
three?
You know, it really depends because sometimes I do a 3x3. That's if I'm really really pushing it that day. But you know, subject to change.
Hmm. If you could travel to any place in the world for a vacation spot, where would you want to go?
I think Greece.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful.
And now, last one. What is some advice that you would give to your younger self?
I think I would say this too shall pass.
Hmm.
You'll be okay.
Hmm. Not to worry about some of the things that you were worrying
Yeah,
about back then.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like the things that you thought were the end of the world, they weren't.
Yeah.
So just keep going, keep grinding.
Well said. Well, really appreciate you again for taking some time out of your day to hop on the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hmm.
It was a blast.